Hello viewers, in today's class we are going to discuss one very important limit, right? And here we have to find the value of this limit, that is limit n tends to infinity, and we have 1 plus sine lambda over n raised to n, right? So here n tends to infinity, right? And to evaluate this type of limit, we'll make use of some important concept from trigonometry. Now see, from trigonometry, we know that limit theta tends to 0, sine theta over theta is equal to 1, right? This is a very important limit. And here theta tends to 0. Now here theta tends to 0, it suggests that theta is very small, right? Theta is very small. So when theta is very small, then limit theta tends to 0, sine theta over theta is 1. So this implies that sine theta is almost equal to theta for small values of theta, right? And remember here theta is measured in radians, right? So this concept will be used to solve this limit, right? Now see, here n tends to infinity, right? So n is getting large, right? So when n tends to infinity, it implies that 1 over n tends to 0, right? So 1 over n tends to 0, it implies that 1 over n is very small, right? So 1 over n is very small. And when we multiply 1 over n by some real number lambda, then lambda over n is also very small, right? So this is an important concept while evaluating this limit. So now when n tends to infinity, then 1 over n is very small, and lambda over n is also very small, right? So utilizing this concept, here if we take theta is equal to lambda over n, then we can write sine lambda over n is almost equal to lambda over n, right? So now if we call this limit as L, then we can write L as the limit n tends to infinity, and we have 1 plus the lambda over n raised to n, right? Because sine lambda over n is almost equal to lambda over n, because lambda over n is a very small quantity. So now this limit is reduced to this well-known limit, right? And we know that limit n tends to infinity, 1 plus 1 over n raised to n is given by the exponential number e, right? And when we write here lambda, then we get e raised to lambda, right? So the value of this limit is equal to e raised to lambda, right? So viewers, this is how we can find out the value of this limit.